Welcome to a playoff.
Gentlemen.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to a playoff edition of Cats and Rats After Dark. I'm here with Cesar Lucero, Nick Levine, and Cody Stevens. I'm your host, Kirby Lupol. We're going to give all of our playoff predictions here tonight. We're also going to break down playoff matchups. But before we do that, Cesar, we're going to get into another matter here to kind of a bit ado to some teams that gave a good run here, but fell up just short of the playoffs.
So, yeah, we're not going to speak too much on them, but Columbus did not make the playoffs. Montreal was able to win their last game and clinch in, and as well as the Calgary Flames. So let's kind of talk about, do you guys see an uprising next year for them, maybe making the playoffs next season? And it was a kind of interesting stat that I saw. I believe the Calgary Flames had 90. How many points there? 93?
96.
96.
They had 96? That was 94.
With the LA win?
They finished with 96 wins.
So,
yep.
It's crazy how they had 96 points and they weren't able to make the playoffs. So
that's 2 points behind the Florida Panthers. 2 points.
Incredible.
That's a win.
This from our community that said, Kirby, Calgary's going to finish bottom 3 in the NHL, so that's a huge win.
I will say this: Florida did have 6 more wins. Shout out OT losses.
Okay.
And that's just like if you win 2 or 3 more of those OT games, right? Which I think they had 14 overtime losses.
They can't win in overtime for some reason because 2 years ago they had the exact same thing.
But if you win 1 or 2 or 3 of those games, you're in the playoffs right now.
Where's like 5-2 in the shootout, so that means most of their games lost were in 3-on-3. But Calgary, I mean, it was just a miracle year for them. A lot of resurgence from veterans Nazem Kadri, Jonathan Huberdeau, the emerging Dustin Wolf as one of the premier young goaltenders in this league. I do not expect the same thing next year. I do expect them to fall off a bit, probably about 10 to 15 points less next year.
Right.
Because, one, I don't think you're going to get that from Huberdeau or Kadri again. Well, I think it's more like, let me rephrase. You probably can get that from Huberdeau and Kadri again. I just don't think Dustin Wolf will be as good next year because I do believe in one thing, and that is the sophomore slump.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier today with a Flames fan, actually.
I believe heavily in that.
I think he's a legit goalie, though, Cody, in years 3 and 4.
He's a legit goalie, but like I said, I believe one of the first 2 years is going to be a tough year for a young player, and that's what I believe in.
And whatever backup they bring in, if it's Vladar they want to continue to run with, he was good down the stretch, or if they go somewhere else there.
Yeah. And they feel the same way that we did back in 17-18, where we had more points than the Western Conference wildcard team. And we did not get it.
And we did not carry it over the next year at all.
Yeah, because our goalies got older and injured, and it's just the miracle run dissipated after that. But
yeah.
And I would say with Calgary, when you don't expect things from them, they'll show up, and when you do, they kind of fall off. So Cody, that could be the case next year where there's a drop off, maybe 8-10 points if we're talking about Calgary. But on the Columbus front, what do you guys' thoughts there?
It's crazy because they ended up winning their last 6 games in a row. So they made a run there. But before that, I think they only won 1 out of their last 8 games. So that losing streak ended up hurting them in the long run.
Yes. Yeah. What killed them in the end was inconsistent goaltending.
And
I also think there's a lot of positives to take away from them, though. You got Marchenko and Voronkov.
I thought Fantilli was fantastic.
And Fantilli.
And you have
Ken Johnson, Cole Sillinger, Zach Werenski finally was healthy, and he was able to showcase what he can do. A lot of the problem for the year was goaltending. Jet Greaves, they finally found something there at the end of the year. If they were able to get that.
Which is something was weird because we played against him.
I always thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder because he's shown that a little bit the previous season or two. So again, is there something there?
So who knows? We've seen runs like that. Hamburglar comes to mind, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, if they would have found that consistency in net a little bit earlier on towards the middle of the season, they're probably in the playoffs right now. But a lot of positives to take away Dean Evison did a really nice job there. I thought got the veterans like James Van Riemsdyk came in, played a really nice role for them. They picked up some good players even throughout the season. Luke Cunnin kind of found a nice role there, I think, towards the end. But Dante Fabro came in their lineup and seamlessly, a guy I wanted for Florida. So
shout out Nashville, bad decisions.
this right shot played just under 22 minutes a night, 26 points in 60 games. And I think a plus 23 for all those plus minus fans, but he was excellent.
Did anyone mention our moderator Ryan, who's in the building here, his favorite guy yet?
Oh, the guy that was injured for half the year? Yeah, no.
Maybe he brought them some juice there coming back in the lineup.
He could have, but analysts, we'll get to that.
Oh, we got a lot of ass. I'm making.
We will get that. We're definitely gonna get to the Tampa. But yeah,
I got a list for that.
Going back to the Columbus, barely missing it. I believe Montreal, in the last 10 games were 7-1-2. So rightfully so, if they deserve to get in, especially with that winning streak they had towards the end, and they looked more consistent. Not more consistent, but better. They played better towards the end of the season than all the other teams behind.
Again, I'm going to contend with Cody. No one really wanted that second wild card.
And I think it's a shame that even with the New York Rangers having a terrible season, the fact that 90 points got into that wild card spot and they still couldn't find a way to get there.
That's crazy.
I think that was just atrocious.
I think that's
Columbus and Montreal could have done that earlier. Cody went on a streak instead of waiting.
Yeah, but no one wanted that fucking spot. No one did.
Yeah.
It was like
the Islanders were right there too for a little bit there.
And it's crazy because every time after dark there was a new team in that wild card spot. It was either the Islanders, Columbus, New York,
Detroit,
Rangers, Detroit. So
but out of all the teams that missed the playoffs in both conferences, I think the Red Wings are probably the most disappointing. I understand the Rangers. I know they understand, but
this is a big offseason coming up for Detroit.
Hey, we'll see. I think they're going to be a desperate.
Yeah, I think they got to make some moves. Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the 16 teams or in the 8 series we have here, because starts tomorrow night. And once again, do not forget to join the Cats and Rats Community NHL Bracket Challenge.
Yes.
The link is in the comment section of Game 82 Spaces, and the password is capital B Barkov.
Yeah, make sure you hit your submit button. We're going to show you guys later at the end of this episode how to do it. So,
before we go into the Toronto and the Battle of Ontario, this is a pretty interesting stat. The longest active Stanley Cup playoff ranking streak. Toronto 9, Colorado 8, Tampa Bay 8, Carolina 7, Edmonton 6 tied with Florida. Pretty crazy, right, guys? Considering that, we've had a long stretch there before making the playoffs, of not even making the playoffs.
I hate this because it includes the bubble.
Okay,
we'll take whatever we can get.
Yeah, but I guess we'll take it. But
well, Caesar's saying that it's crazy to see us on there because of our long futility. But there's 2 other teams on there that had futility as well: the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton Oilers, no one has.
They were bad right around the time we were too, in that 2010s.
All 3 of us
mid 2000, again, just 6 straight playoff.
Wait, pull up that thing again. 6
consecutive playoff appearances puts you with the top of the league, so it's just good to see.
Each of these teams have had at least significant futility within the 2010s. Each of these teams.
Colorado, how long was it there between the Matt Duchene and then Nathan?
Well, they had it before McKinnon got there.
The 13-14 season.
And then they had it when Bednar first
It wasn't quite as long as Florida and Edmonton, and I wouldn't even say Toronto.
It was either 13-14 or no, actually no, I think it may have been 14-15 where they had that horrible
Ryan
season.
Says they have all won multiple rounds and one. You mean one playoff run, not series, except Toronto. Anyway, they've all won a round. We're not going to move.
Yeah, but
But these
Yeah.
conference final teams, Stanley Cup teams.
But what's funny is, like, in each of these runs, Toronto isn't the only team that hasn't won a game in the Eastern Conference in the conference finals. Carolina has not done that either.
No, they
But-
haven't.
What I mean, each of these teams experienced extreme futility in the early 2010s. You know, Toronto, like, trying to tank for Matthews. Colorado, like, one of McKinnon's first or second year, they were
Well, if you take a look at
horrible.
the 2013 draft, I think all of those teams are in the top 10.
Yeah, because it was McKinnon, Barkov. Sorry,
Sounds like there's a party there.
no, that's not a party. That's a fearful scream.
That's a little before watch parties coming up.
Damn. Then it was
Carolina took what's it called?
Let me pull it up.
Forgot his name. Yeah, once you say it, I'm gonna be like, damn it.
Let's see here.
Was it Elias Lindholm?
It may have been Lindholm. That
It
makes
was Elias Lindholm.
Yep, let's see here.
Drouin was 3 in Tampa. Yes, Vince.
Share the screen here.
Wasn't that when Nylander got drafted?
Oh, Toronto was the only one they had. This was after they lost to Boston. They had Frederick.
Okay.
But look, Colorado, Florida, Tampa Bay, top 3, Carolina, Edmonton. Like, those are a bunch of teams right there. And guess what? Each of these teams drafted a guy that's in a key spot for these teams, like McKinnon, Barkov still for that team, Duran at a top 6 role for Tampa or for Colorado now. Look at Seth Jones, top 4 guy for Florida now. Elias Lindholm.
Share your screen again, Cody.
I don't know why it stopped, but
It was actually sharing my screen.
Yeah.
That's why.
there you go.
There we go.
Like right here. Like there are a lot of
Medicine Hat legend Hunter Shinkaruk.
This was a really good draft here, actually. Like, yeah, Burakovsky in the back part of the round, Shea Theodore, a Kirby guy down
I
here.
remember Marco Dano. Oh my gosh.
Ryan Hartman. Jason Dickinson was a first-round pick, really? Michael McCarron, I remember him, Montreal guy. Nikita Zador. I forgot he was a Sabre. He was in the I forgot he was a Sabre. He was in the Ryan O'Reilly deal, I think, originally. So, but anyway, but what's the first series on the docket here?
So, speaking of series, the Ontario series, a lot of you remember what happened a few years ago here. Let's play the tape.
The finishing touches on an Ottawa win, a series win, and Morgan Riley takes exception to that. And the Battle of Ontario will boil over here.
You know what's funny? I played hockey, and I still don't get why you're mad at a guy for slap shotting the puck into an empty net. He has the empty net. He has the right to do anything he wants with it.
Pretty much. Yeah, if you're not skating back or you're not back there. Again, we talked about this last
Former
week.
Florida Panther Vladimir Tarasenko was in that video, by the way.
Blasting the puck at someone's head versus blasting the
I
puck
think it was
at,
like a week or two before he got traded.
I don't know, blasting at someone's head versus an empty net. I think I would be more upset, puck coming at me,
Jack always, with his great commentary, says Morgan Riley is such a clown.
You know what
Thank
Uyghur would have done, though? He would have just skated back and then broke his stick on the post.
Yeah,
Uyghur would have started skating to the bench.
Break the stick first.
But the Battle of Ontario here, boys.
So, who do you guys? Which player is key for in this series for both teams? Let's kind of go with Ottawa. Which player do you think is going to be key for them potentially winning the series?
I don't know if there's any other answer than Linus Ullmark. I really don't.
Okay.
You have to pick one guy, right, Cody?
Like, if I had to pick one, it's Linus Ullmark.
I'm not going to answer it that way. My answer is a collection of the Ottawa's better players and their secondary core players outperform all the Toronto players. Is it possible?
All 18 guys.
For sure, it's possible. But up
And
and
the
down the lineup for Ottawa.
The physicality, I think if Toronto comes out physical, balls to the wall, hitting, making smart plays, Brady Kachuk making plays like he did in Four Nations, they got a real.
I
big
give
shot.
all
You're
the
saying Toronto going balls
I
to
give
the
He,
wall?
said, he meant to say
No,
Ottawa.
Ottawa. I meant to
I
say
give
Ottawa.
all the
Thank you
respect
for
in the
correcting.
world. I give all the respect in the world to the Ottawa Senators, and I think they can make this a series, and it's absolutely a possibility that they can win it.
There's
I
three
personally,
three players, Nick: Sanderson, Allmark, and Kachuk to answer.
well, I think Kachuk, because the health is also a factor there with him. We don't know. He left the lineup or left the game early in the third period. He said precautionary. I would say Brady Kachuk, is he that guy? We're about to find out, right? And I think for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't think you can answer just one guy for them. I think it would have to be one of the two goaltenders could be the question mark. How do they perform in this series? But I also think this is a series like maybe Mitch Marner can get going here for them. I will say this, though. I give all the respect in the world to Ottawa. I think they absolutely can make this a difficult series, and they very well could win it. I don't think if Toronto plays to the best of their ability, if they play their game, it should really be all that close. Toronto's got the talent. They've changed their style of play. It should not. They won the division. A lot of respect to Ottawa, but Toronto, again, this should not be a close series. You should not be.
So you're leaning an earlier series here for Toronto.
I think it has the potential to be. Now, again,
so it doesn't matter that Ottawa beat them 3 times this year.
Boston beat us 4 times last year.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter what you do for me in the regular season.
It shouldn't be. Now, again, does that mean I think it will be? That remains to be seen. I personally think that this series shouldn't be over relatively quickly, and that should be the expectation for Toronto fans. I get it's a Battle of Ontario. I get this, that, the other thing. Toronto is the better team. Toronto has changed their style of play, preparing for the playoffs. They need to be ready to go, and they need to act like they're the number 1 team in the division going up against a wild card team. That's just it. But that's just my opinion as we take a look at the schedule here. Sunday at 7 p.m., a very interesting schedule for the NHL playoffs, which I'm sure we'll talk about throughout the course of this live stream. Sunday at 7 p.m. is the opening game of this series. Kirby, you thought it would be Saturday night?
Yeah, until you guys told me with Chris Johnson there, I think he said Sunday. So interesting that not starting Saturday. I heard something, I know it's unrelated to this series, but the LA Fires might have pushed that LA Edmonton series away from opening on a Saturday night.
Yeah, but with this series right here is Toronto going to actually do what they actually need to do and just handle their business? Because when Toronto's heavily favored, and last time Toronto was heavily favored in a series like this, it went smoothly for 4 games and it fell off a cliff for the last 3.
Cody, how can you say this series won't start 1-1? The Leafs, whenever they have home ice, they don't take care of business at home to start a series.
I mean, because let's put it this way: the Toronto Maple Leafs have been the worst home team the last 2 playoff runs for any team that's made it past the second round once.
Mm-hmm.
They have won 2 home games.
They've given away opening games to Tampa. They gave Florida 2.
Yeah, they've lost every game 1.
Boston, they've given away. I know
they've lost every game 1 their last 3 series. Last 3 series only has 2 home ones with 2 of them you having home ice.
Last year, those 2 home games, 3 and 4 for the Toronto Maple Leafs, was the most lethargic hockey I've ever seen from a playoff team in a playoff series that I could even remember. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I could not believe it, how bad it was. Kirby?
I just, again, I don't want to get into my picks here, but I think Ottawa, they don't have the experience, but you got to look at their secondary players, guys, that have cup experience. So you go down to Nick Cousins, Michael
Shane Pinto.
I'm not going to get to him yet. Not cup experience. David Perron. So there's a lot of guys up and down that lineup. Even a guy, Travis Hamonic, I think he's been back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals with the Islanders, if I'm not mistaken. So these guys are going to really give Ottawa some life. If Brady and these other players are really not stepping up to the plate at certain points, I think you have that element. And how is Toronto going to push back if Brady Tkachuk's being physical, if Nick Cousins is being physical? Zub, other guys on the back end there for Ottawa. They're going to bring Toronto into the fight. And is that good for Toronto? Or guys, should they just ignore that and try to play their game?
It's like I said, it's gonna be interesting here. We're gonna get to our picks later, but I think I said for Ottawa, if Linus Ullmark has to be a top 5 player in this series, for them to have any chance. That's in my opinion, and like his playoff record has not been the greatest. If we're all gonna be honest here, he's been shelled quite a bit. But I think this time, without him having a leash on his back this time, like he did in Boston, I wonder if he's going to play more free and play better. So one thing I've always wondered, because the entire time in the past, he's had.
I'm going to push back on that though for Cody, because if he does struggle the first 2 games, do you think they go into and put in their?
No,
you don't think? I mean, he's
no.
They got a pretty good backup in there. So
I don't know, but you just paid this guy $8 million, like $6 million over the next.
But it's the playoffs. If
I don't know.
No, you go with your horse. He's the guy that got you here. Forsberg didn't get you here. Omar got you here.
I like Forsberg. So if he's struggling, and
they just gave him that big contract.
Yeah, but
Kirby, Don Banya says they have good veteran leadership in Ottawa. Perron and your guy Claude Giroux.
I forgot to mention, hasn't been to a Stanley Cup.
Yes, he
has been to a Cup final. He scored an OT winner in a Cup final.
Okay, Chicago Blackhawks. My apologies.
But
they have Cup experience, guys.
So. Yeah, Mario, Perron, Cousins.
Yeah, Nick Jensen as well.
No, I don't think he was on that team.
Was he there? You didn't look that up, Nick.
No, he was not. He was on Detroit.
Tuna corrected me there on Hamonic, said he wasn't in those back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals.
No, he was before that. He was somewhere else. I don't remember where.
We played against him in that playoff series. I know that. I guess he was gone by then.
So real quick to wrap it up here. I'm guessing you guys all have Toronto winning the series, or
are we giving it now, or are we waiting for?
Wait. We'll wait for our picks.
We'll wait. But to answer Jack's question, real question: who's the best defenseman in the series? It's Jake Sanderson.
Yep.
But Toronto has the real question. The real question is who's the second best defenseman in this series.
That's the real question. Or Shabbat.
Or Shabbat. The fact that Morgan Riley could be the 4th best defenseman in this series.
Maybe. No. Now, he has played well in the playoffs, but I don't know how he's trending right now.
But we'll see. But I guess I think it's going to be great. I don't think this series is going to be over quickly, to be honest with you. I really don't.
No, it has the potential to go to 7 for sure.
But, Nick, what we got?
All right. Here we go. Which team do you have winning this first round matchup? NHL Network, a bunch of people. We're going to be talking about this. Tampa Bay Lightning.
That question.
Disregard that question for right now.
But it's the Battle of Florida. It's going to be a good series. It's crazy. What do you guys think of the schedule? Them starting on Tuesday. I know.
I think it's fucking stupid.
A lot of us had the time and date wrong.
It could be.
The media had it wrong. Everyone had it wrong.
I think it actually helps the guys, gives us a little bit more rest.
Yes.
Helps us. And for all the Lightning fans and all the people who hate the Florida Panthers, they're not waiting for Tkachuk to get back. Matthew Tkachuk doesn't have that type of control and power over the NHL. Anyway, now that I've said that.
And we avoid playing a matinee game in Tampa.
That's big. That's big. It also allows, I presume, our players to stay home through the weekend on Easter. Happy Easter, everyone, by the way. Stay home on Easter Sunday and then go up on Monday. And again, late start time. It's later than usual, but it's still a weeknight game as opposed to a weekend afternoon game, which is huge. It also gives us the opportunity to rest our players even a little bit more, and Matthew Tkachuk, right? A lot of what I'm hearing for people saying Tampa Bay, the Panthers are tired. They haven't been playing that well, even though our records are very similar from this year and last year, the final 15 games of the year. And they actually haven't been watching us. They probably just looked at the record. But I'll say this. We're tired. We haven't played together, this, that, the other thing. That's the same thing that people were saying when the Tampa Bay Lightning played the Florida Panthers in the President's Trophy year. The Lightning have played too much hockey. They're tired. This, that, the other thing. Well, before, for everybody saying, oh, we're not healthy, before we were cheating, before we were LTIR cheaters and Matthew Tkachuk's fine and this, that, the other thing, and now all of a sudden we're hurt. They haven't been watching us. They'd look at a record on a screen and say, that's it, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I have all the respect in the world for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think this is going to be a good series, a tough series. But I think the respect for the Tampa Bay Lightning is now starting to become disrespect for the Florida Panthers, because this isn't Andrew Brunette. This isn't like we haven't done anything. We've gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. We've been Tampa, ever since they've kind of fallen off, we've kind of taken over that class of the league right there, right along with Vegas, Tampa. You could even throw Colorado in there. I don't know how you could say teams like, oh, Tampa Bay, this, that, the other thing. Tampa Bay's not the same team they were. The Florida Panthers aren't the same President's Trophy team they were. We're getting rest, and all these excuses or other things, they're not watching us. They're looking at a record, and they're saying Tampa Bay Lightning are too good when ignoring what we've done the last 2 years. I have all the respect in the world for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they're disrespecting the Florida Panthers.
I just want to add, I think Tampa Bay was getting disrespected to start the year. Go look at where the Stanley Cup was. They were getting disrespected to start the year. Now we're getting disrespected going into the series. So both teams faced it. It's not a Florida thing. They hate us.
Tampa Bay got this year. Tampa Bay.
Go look where Tampa was last year. Because of Stamkos leaving, that's why they were the 8th favorite team or 10th favorite.
A lot of people said that Tampa might not even make the playoffs this year.
Well, yes. Oh. Tampa Bay was disrespected the year they went back to the Cup final and lost against Colorado.
So is that just the thing to pick someone new? It's not.
Well, I guess it's just the thing to pick someone new. I think it's a kind of a lazy argument to say we play too much hockey, this, that, the other thing, and just say, well, we haven't been playing well. We're hurt. We're tired. This, that, the other. I mean,
I think it's better to say you don't know what to expect from.
Correct. And I'm not talking about, and I'm not talking about the people picking Tampa Bay in 7, right? Even Tampa Bay
go either way.
Tampa Bay in 4, Tampa Bay in 5.
Nick Kripios is still picking Florida over Colorado in the Stanley Cup, so he's sticking with his preseason pick.
Well, he just said that
today. Yes.
So he has been consistent on it ever since we played Toronto. I think Nick Kripios is loved our game, but I think
just the guys that aren't Dangle, Jason Bourne,
Jesse Blake. I mean, I'm just going to say this,
Drew, but
I could be wrong, and Tampa Bay could. Anything can happen, but I think it's very, very disrespectful to just – it's not that they're not picking us. It's that they've just completely written us off. And I think that's the disrespect part.
Yeah, I think some people are – guys, Caesar and Cody are saying this is going to be a great series, but they are talking Tampa and just be like kind of leaving us off to the side.
They mentioned – I've heard more about Brandon Hagel than I've heard about Alexander Barkov on these talk shows.
Some people are picking Hagel for their Conn Smythe.
Hey, but let me just remind everyone, this was before the season as well. This was the predictions right here for – wait, why did it go away again? I'm getting
tired. So keep going. Yeah. Share it again.
All right. There we go. That was the prediction list before the season started.
Oh, my gosh.
I had this bookmarked.
And again, Cody, a lot of noise going background on Nick's camera there. Edmonton, they were the odds-on favorite to come into the season to win the Stanley Cup, and by a lot of the experts picking them as well. And now we're going to get into their series here in a little bit. It's going the completely opposite.
Hey, shout out Matt Marchese.
Who has New Jersey there? Cervelli, is it?
What happened?
Well, who has New Jersey? Sorry, I can't see it there.
Mark Marchese.
Mark
Marchese, yeah.
I think he's Sportsnet.
This is all Sportsnet. These are all
Come on,
Sportsnet
come on,
insiders.
Elliot. Come on, Elliot. You know better than that.
But I mean, you got like Eric Engels, Ryan Dixon. I understand the pick, and then you have Ellie Friedman.
Nick Kiprios, a really smart man, ladies and gentlemen. I've always been a fan.
Hey,
You'd expect more Dallas there potentially at the
are
beginning.
you shocked that Mark Spector picked the Oilers?
No, he is an Edmonton Oilers. I don't even know what they call
Him and that idiot Jim Matheson.
Jim Matheson, yeah, he's their scribe.
But next up on the docket.
So next up on the docket, we have Montreal versus the Capitals. The battle, I guess, for the Metro here. Not much of a series. I don't think it's gonna be. What do you guys think? This could be I honestly think it could go maybe 6 games. Real quick, we'll kind of just jump on a little bit on this. Being that Montreal's first playoff game since they were in COVID, right? The COVID year.
Yeah, the last time they had a playoff game, Shea Weber and Carey Price were in their lineup.
And there was a trophy being rewarded in 5 games as well.
Yep, and I mean the bubble year.
Yeah. I heard a stat, Cody, that I think the Montreal Canadiens' youngest team, at least in modern era history, to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's pretty crazy, say. So a lot of inexperience on the Montreal Canadian side. I think you have more on the Ottawa side that we talked about earlier. And as well on the Washington side of things, I think they're the #1 rush team. So Montreal, young legs, are going to be able to skate. But Washington's been a top rush team here all year. So I think, again, I think there's going to be some close games
It's
here.
strength versus strength here.
Yeah, it is.
I think 2-3 overtime games. Montreal might be able to grab 1 or 2 of them, but I think Washington can kind of dictate this
So
series.
I have a question. Who's the best player in this series?
Alexander Ovechkin. Next question.
Yeah, hands.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe he's a key factor. I don't know if he's the best player.
I
He's
think
easily the best player.
It could be a guy like Strome or Wilson or Protas or something
I
like
think
that.
Wilson's going to have a series. I think Wilson's probably going to be like.
And I think Suzuki and Montembeault for Montreal, if it does
Yeah.
go 7 games, I think those 2 will be key for Montreal.
And I think-
Hudson, I don't know what to expect with him.
I think could Hudson get bullied here? A
That's
big
what I'm
physical
thinking.
team in Washington.
Does he get run out of this series by like a Tom Wilson or something here? I
Or
don't
Protus or something like that.
know.
Suzuki's definitely
PLD,
underrated.
no, PLD could show up here. He's done it in the bubble before with Columbus.
Like another, but like for Montreal, it's just like here's the thing. This series, I'm gonna call it now. This series is gonna have a lot of 5-3, 6-4,
Yeah, you were saying
5-4 games.
I think overtime mixed into that.
Yeah,
Like-
goaltending is going to be a big issue for both teams.
Yeah,
so.
but I don't think it's more on goaltending. I think it's more the fact that both of these teams are so good off the rush that I think there's going to be a lot of defensive breakdowns.
Yeah, breakdowns. Yep.
Like
And I don't know if you can say what to expect from these goalies, good or bad.
Like Logan Thompson's probably the best goalie in this series, but Montembeault's put up some pretty good performances.
First game of the year this year, he had like a 41-42.
Yeah, this one's going to be probably the highest scoring, like one of the highest scoring series. I think it'll be the highest scoring in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, this is going to play more similar to some teams out west that have a little bit of that speed game. But Washington's going to be able to implement their physicality. I think they need to do that from the start, Cody. I don't think they need to dance around and give Montreal any hope here. Just come out, be physical, chip and chase, play that style of game. That's a style of game that Carberry was getting them to play last year. This year, he told them to open up a bit more and play a little bit more offensively sound. So I think they need to take a playbook from last year and bring back some of those defensive fundamental things. Into
You guys do 60 seconds on Lane Hudson's game and why he said. Well, let's start with this. To be a successful defenseman in today's National Hockey League day and era, you have to be a very good skater. And Lane Hudson's one of that.
Yeah.
Lane Hudson, quick, mobile, shifty.
He's a game changer already at the age that he's at, Jack. Rookie on the power play. And that's impressive. Some players don't get there till year 5, 6, 7.
Another thing about Lane, elite vision, elite passing.
Yeah. He does see things, and he avoids hits. He's a very small guy, but he evades
I
contact.
see a lot of prime Eric Carlson in this game. Shiftiness, elite vision from blue line to blue line, can make stretch passes. Like, I see a lot of that in this game. Hopefully he's a bit more tougher than Carlson.
Will he be able to make passes when the ice shrinks here a bit?
We'll see. That's one way to find out. I'm not going to completely judge him right now.
No.
First playoffs, very young, rookie year. Not going to completely judge it.
No.
But
I think another guy we didn't mention with Montreal, Caden Gooley, he's a gamer to me.
yeah.
This dude is big time. I think he's a guy that can score a goal for you in overtime, tie a game up late when you pull the goal.
But you brought up like Washington's a guy. Montreal can give it right back to him. Arbor Jack guy on the back end. David
You
Savard.
need to have him in the lineup.
Jack guy Savard. You have Josh.
Yoel Armia. You got Kirby's guy. Brendan Gallagher.
Oh,
Get us some playoff hockey.
Ryburn likes to mention this guy, Josh Anderson, pound for pound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big guy. And
So, yeah,
that's how I feel with Montreal. Is like Montreal is going to give Washington a lot more of a fit than what Columbus would have, I think.
But if you're Washington, I think you try to eliminate Caulfield and Hudson early and get them out of the way, and then what's
Then you deal with Slafkovsky and Demidov.
I think Suzuki's going to be a handle, but you start to eliminate some of those young core pieces for Montreal, then you kind of get them to go away. But if they give them life early, Montreal could take a 1-0 or a 2-1 series lead early on.
But what's going to hurt Montreal in this series? They're not good down the middle. Like, you have Suzuki as your 1C who's turned into that, but then you go to Christian Dvorak, Alex Newhook. Like, Jake Evans is a pretty good 4C.
You don't think Evans and Newhook could match up well in playoffs?
Not against Washington, no.
Okay.
Who does Washington have down the middle? They have Strome, PLD.
Strome, PLD, Lars Eller, Nick Dowd.
Dowd is. I'm going to talk 4C here, but one of the best elite 4C guys in the NHL right now. I think they just locked him into.
Yeah, and I just think down the middle, I'm not a big Newhook guy, to be honest.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think he's soft.
He's played a little playoffs, right, with Colorado?
But he kind of got rubbed out that series.
Okay.
But I think that's where I think Montreal's biggest downfall is going to be. That in defense.
I'm looking forward to it a little bit more than if Columbus or another team.
And now to the most boring Eastern Conference series. I don't even know why. I don't even feel like talking about this one.
It always involves this one team.
No one gives a fuck.
Nobody
top
cares.
25, top 50, Dougie's back. Wow.
Woo! Kirby's going to have his eyes glued to this series.
Anytime I turn on the TV in the playoffs, Dougie Hamilton makes a mistake. It's within 30 seconds.
But he might finally rewatch Game 5 of the Cup Final against Vegas before he watches this series.
So Carolina versus New Jersey Devils here.
Caesar has lost down.
I said my dark horse, just kind of like going off the edge. I wouldn't be surprised if New Jersey wins this series. I know Carolina's strong defensively up front. They're going to wear New Jersey down, and New Jersey has a lot of injuries. But if Markstrom has a one heck of a series, I think he can literally win you a series. If there's anybody that can do it, he can.
They're going to need that, and I think he's going to have to be the best player in the first round, not just in this series, but in all matchups.
But Carolina, New Jersey, it'd be a lot more interesting if Jack Hughes was healthy.
And remember, Sheldon Keefe, great regular season coach. Sheldon Keefe, it's playoff time.
Hey, we'll see. I think I am on the boat where I don't think Sheldon Keefe was mainly the problem. I think the players had a lot more were some of the problem as well.
I'm not putting it all at his feet, but he's not been great in the playoffs.
But we'll see here. But
it's good talent. Now he has inferior talent with the injuries.
The X factor for New Jersey when you're down like this, injury wise, your goalie's your best bet.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's kind of go out to the West real quick. The Western Conference.
What a gauntlet.
Because we're gonna do our picks here. We'll go real quick. St. Louis, Winnipeg. Any key factors in that series?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Could Winnipeg have a short memory from last year's playoffs?
Can Winnipeg win more than game one and then get steamrolled for 4 games? That's what happened with Vegas against them. That happened with Colorado.
Because like I know Washington got swept last year in the playoffs, but Winnipeg was by far the worst team in that first round last year.
Yep.
Holy, they were.
Yeah, I don't
think answers were given from that either, Nick.
I did not give Winnipeg a great grade. I gave them a good grade at the deadline. I think that the center depth continues to be an issue for them. Not saying they can't win a cup or they can't win a round. They absolutely can. But Adam Lowry and Vladislav Nemesnikov is your 2C, and this Western Conference isn't good enough. I don't care. It's just not good enough.
They got a few injuries too, Winnipeg coming in.
And now I think Nikolai Ehlers and Gabriel Velarde, although I think Velarde's back. Not sure on Nikolai Ehlers quite yet. But
Kanaya follow banged up too.
Yeah, and I agree with what Jack said. Jets were terrible in game one and somehow got a win. That's because Alexander Georgiev couldn't buy a save. He couldn't stop a freaking.
There was one goalie was worse than the other. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Hellebuck was not good in that series, but he got no help from it either.
And you got Hellebuck that has to exercise his demons, not only just from Four Nations gold medal game, but also when St. Louis won the cup. That underdog St. Louis team knocked out Winnipeg when they were pretty heavily or moderately favored in that.
And Hunter Hellebuck, he's got to be the MVP. I think.
I don't know why Hellebuck can't play like he has in the regular season. He's not really showing it in the playoffs since you go back to maybe a Western Conference final appearance.
And St. Louis, Jim Montgomery. It's playoff time.
That's right. Yeah. We're talking about some coaches that are kind of. I
thought he did a nice job last year against us. I think he did actually a pretty good job.
Yeah, he rebounded last year from the.
But
and I think Paul Maurice did say that the more physical series was against Boston last season. So,
yeah. But in terms of everything, if one thing I do believe in playoffs are if you have a gamer goalie, you always have a shot. And I think Jordan Binnington's in that category as well for St. Louis.
Oh, he gives them a shot for sure. Yeah. And
I think
with pedigree,
Jordan Binnington's been there, done that, and I think if you're looking, I think this again probably gonna be the most popular upset pick.
Really?
Yeah, I think it could happen. Real quick, now going into the Dallas and Colorado series, that's going to be an interesting series, and I think everybody's excited to see that series.
This series was exciting.
It was exciting, not anymore.
But now with Jason Robertson, out week to week, that kind of hurts their chances, and Miro Heiskanen still not close.
Out their 2 best players. That's just brutal.
Can Ratinen? Can he take?
They can't do anything on defense. They're not going to be able to handle Colorado speed. They're just not going to be able to handle Colorado.
But we'll see.
So Jake Ottinger's going to need to stand on his head.
I don't think that means it's a short series, Cody.
I'm not going to count them out completely because Rantanen could go full beast mode here. And it's just something that I'm not going to count out with Rantanen. But
yeah, I just think the defense, like you take a look, Lyubushkin, Dumba, Cody Ceci, Alex Petrovich going to be getting more playoff games.
That's former Florida Panthers.
Liam Bishop. I mean, these are big guys. They don't move the best. And going up against freaking Nathan McKinnon and Kel McCarr, Marty Natchez, Jonathan Drouin. I mean, that's a lot of speed right there. You're not.
Akushin?
What?
You mentioned Akushin?
Minchuskin, another guy, right? I mean, just the speed alone, it's going to be tough for them to handle. And
Brock Nelson,
another guy. I mean, I'm not. Those are more heavy players. I'm just talking about the speed factor alone.
Like Natchez, Drouin,
McKinnon. I think they could really take advantage
from the back end too. McCarr just makes such a.
And Jack makes it. How do you win without Miro Heiskanen?
I don't know how you get out of your own zone and make some.
Right. Who's going to play the minutes?
Unless Dumba turns back the clock and goes back to Minnesota. Thomas Harley's going to have a lot of pressure on him.
I would just ask Dumba to get the puck out clean, Cody, not just to turn.
Just do the Ekbladian
flips, and I don't know. Yeah, just live to fight another day. But then Colorado is the best at just coming back at you with those flip plays, and they just come back at you with so much speed.
But the one thing with Colorado is they have been prone to this year. What happens if they're sloppy with the puck?
Yeah.
Dallas
and turnovers on blue lines and things. Yeah.
Dallas can turn around and put that right in the back of the net here. Where
Yeah, I don't think it, and I also think Blackwood could struggle in this series.
lack of playoff experience, we'll see.
And I think if Ottinger can stand on his head,
Yeah, I think
and
I made
Ottinger's
them
gonna
today.
have
I
to
have a
be.
pool. I have a pool, and I put Blackwood very high on my.
there's definitely a path for Dallas to win this series, right? It's
Mhm.
going to be quite difficult, but they have the talent to do it.
If Ottinger can stand on his head and win and sustain the blows here until some of their injured players get back, they have a very good chance. But he's gonna have to play to his best ability.
He's gonna have to probably turn the clock to Calgary. Maybe not all the way that level, but somewhat
yeah.
close to it.
So now going into the Vegas Minnesota series, I don't really think that's going to be a series.
Why couldn't Minnesota just play Winnipeg?
Because he has talked up Minnesota since the summer. Where are you at now, Cody?
This is the worst possible matchup for Minnesota because Vegas has bar none the best defensive core in the NHL. But with injuries to Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov, them coming back, it sets Minnesota's lineup a lot better than what it was. But now I have questions: Can they continue to get contributions from Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy? I love Minnesota's fourth line with Hartman, Trennan, and Brazeau. Yeah. I think it's something that could cause problems for Vegas if they aren't careful.
And I think Minnesota's got to win the goaltending matchup here as well, Cody. You've had Gustafsson had a better year here than he did last year. He's kind of one of those goalies, hot one year, cold another. You need him to win that matchup.
He's done
really Hill or Samsonov, whoever it is.
Yep. And I think one X factor for Minnesota is, are they going to play Zeev Buium?
Yeah.
Defenseman they just came out of college. We'll see, because I like him better than Declan Chisholm, but
I don't know. I think Vegas is too good.
Boldy was nearly a cat one time. I think that Minnesota offered him in a deal like a couple years back. I can't remember what it was for, but Vegas, I mean, that back end, Theodore, Pietrangelo, Hannafin, Whitecloud, Haig.
I'm jealous. Kirby, you like that defense score better than ours?
Pretty healthy too, right?
Yeah, and I think the guys like Dorofeev and Riley Smith, they came back.
They gave Eichel some rest down the stretch too. I want to
say. So they got a deep forward core. Their forward core, I think, is as good as it was the year they won the cup. Their defense core is arguably better.
And when you win a cup and you get bounced early the year before, you get to refresh and recharge here. This is where Tampa is at now. This is where Vegas hopes to be at. So you get that. You get that little rest there. You get that early exit bounce, and then you get a chance to reset here. And I think Vegas has done that this year. And they're getting slept on.
Yeah, I mean.
I think everybody's talking about Colorado, Winnipeg, even Dallas. I think Vegas is the favorite in the West. I'll just say that.
I would say.
But with Vegas, can their goaltending hold up?
That's the biggest question. But they have the offensive power to keep up. So,
Cody, you think Florida and Vegas have the best defense in hockey? I think Vegas does.
Vegas, yeah.
I don't know about Florida. I think
Florida does on paper. I don't.
Fully healthy, they might have one of the best ones in the
I don't know if Florida's is better than Colorado. I don't know. That's another one. I have questions about Washington sometimes.
I like what Washington's built there.
Because you have
I think Ottawa's maybe one piece away from being very scary.
Because you have Rasmus Sandin, Matt Roy, John Carlson, Jacob Chikrin.
I think Ottawa has one of the most.
They had a piece this summer. Ooh.
I even right now with Sanderson, Zub, Shabbat.
Zub's properly slotted now, but if you can get a guy above Zub or around that level,
well, then that's like a luxury. Then you're like Vegas level. I think
that's close to a luxury, but it's gonna be interesting. But Minnesota's got their work cut out for them.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to match. They're gonna have to match Vegas's tough and Vegas, in my opinion, has the best home ice advantage in the NHL because
Better
there's that better than who?
LA.
Yeah. Like, I mean, in terms of like not record, but in terms of like atmosphere.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah. All
LA's
right.
just good at home.
But it's kind of like, and there we're kind of like kind of short guys. Last but not least, Edmonton versus Vegas.
LA.
You mean LA?
At LA, my bad.
So
Why did I
this
say?
is an
We were just talking
interest-
about Vegas. I'm sorry.
Nick, you go ahead.
This is an interesting series. You can't count out Edmonton with McDavid and Draisaitl, but without Matthias Ekholm,
Yeah.
with Stuart Skinner, he has not had a good year. A lot of guys being pushed up the lineup. The depth is not as good as it was last year. Obviously, I'm going to give Edmonton a chance, but I think LA is deeper this year. I think that they got their issue in net solved. Their goalie is going to be a Vezina candidate. You combined a much better Los Angeles team with a banged up Edmonton team that lacks depth and their best D-man out of the lineup. And series that have been close in the past, not last year, but have been close in the past. I think this could be the year they break through. I guess the question is how much can McDavid and Draisaitl really carry? And what can Darnell Nurse do? Before Darnell Nurse, just don't make a mistake. He can't afford that now. He's got to play top pair. He's going to be playing 25, 26 minutes a night.
And what goalie is Edmonton going to go with here?
I don't think it matters. I don't know how they didn't upgrade in net. I think that's malpractice.
They went forward core in the offseason, went one defenseman in the trade deadline.
Trent Frederick, too.
Trent Frederick hasn't even played for them yet, I don't think.
He's played like one game, and then he got hurt again.
One game?
Yeah.
Also, LA's got to protect home ice here. I think their last loss of the season against Calgary was their 6th in regulation, so best in the NHL. They got to come out, and you got to take the first 2 on home ice if you're LA, because I think when Edmonton goes back home, I think they can win the 2 on their home ice, and it'll be an even series. So I think a little pressure on LA to start to grab not just one, but both on home ice.
Right. So I know we got to wrap up here soon. Should we go through our picks?
Yeah.
Predictions?
Let's go.
All right. Who wants to go first?
I got my bracket ready.
Before we do this, I just want to give a quick announcement here. Shout out to our sponsor. Hey, Panther fans in South Florida and need real estate help, check out Jeremy Beckham with Next Home Treasure Coast. It's a boutique service with a personal touch. Jeremy and his team put humans over houses. Working hard for you, whether you're buying or selling. Ready to move? Hit up BeckSellsFLA.com or call 772-475-5371 now. You'll be glad you did.
And our sponsor, Caneswear. Panthers Fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jersey, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or PanthersWear.com for all your – that's Pantherswear, WEAR, for all your Panthers gear. But I have my full bracket ready, so –
Okay.
So Peter's going to direct us through it here. We're going to go one at a time.
Yep. So Cody, you want to start it off here?
I got, like I said, I have the full one I could show right now.
No, we're going to go with this one.
We're going to pick.
What are we starting? Top left or top right?
Whichever you want to go. You tell me, buddy. Let's go.
We're going to start top left to right. I have Winnipeg in 7.
Okay, Winnipeg. We'll do the numbers after. So Winnipeg. Okay.
I have Winnipeg. Then I have Colorado. Vegas.
LA. Interesting. And now
let's talk about it a little bit here now, Cody, with your numbers.
I have Winnipeg in 7. I do think this is because this is St. Louis has been a different team ever since Montgomery has become into the fold here. And the Magic could run out. And I think it's going to. I think it's Winnipeg is going to get this one this year. Dallas and Colorado. I originally had Colorado in 7, but now I'm going to go 6. That Robertson injury is going to hurt Dallas once again. I think Colorado is going to victimize that right side of the defense. Next one, Vegas. I have them winning in 6. Not 5, 6. Because I do think Minnesota could steal one on the road and get one at home as well. I think they can win game 3 and game 5. But I just think Vegas is too much. And then LA Edmonton, I have LA in 7. I would go LA in 6, but I don't think they're going to win a game 6 in Edmonton. That's a tough place to play, especially when the Oilers have nothing to lose.
Now on the Eastern side, let's go.
I have Toronto, Florida, Washington, Carolina. I have Toronto in 6, Florida in 6, Washington in 5, Carolina in 7.
Anything to mention on some of those there, Cody?
I think Florida's going to protect home ice in that series, and I think they're going to steal one on the road. I think they're going to win game 1. Toronto, I think they're going to – Ottawa, I think, is going to win game 1, but I think Toronto wins games 2, 3, and 4. Ottawa wins game 5, and Toronto wins it on. Toronto's a better road team in the playoffs for some reason. I don't know why. So that's my reasoning there. Washington, I think Montreal steals game 3 or 4.
Okay.
I don't think they're winning in Washington. And Carolina, New Jersey, I think it's a close series. I think Markstrom has a hell of a series to put this to 7. But I think in the end, Carolina's structure and intensity is going to win out in the end in that one.
Perfect.
And that's all we're going to go. So let's have a look at Cody's there. As first round, we're not going to go through it like you guys have to. When you do your bracket challenge, everyone, make sure you fill out your full bracket, tiebreakers, all the games, everything that they ask for you. So that does go through, right? So we're just doing it this way for now. So there's Cody's first round. Nick, Caesar, who's up next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the Western Conference. I got Winnipeg in 6.
Yeah, just hold the numbers. We'll get to
I'll hold the numbers. Colorado, Vegas, and LA.
And then go ahead and explain here.
Way to fucking copy me.
Well, I got Winnipeg in 6. I do think St. Louis is a better team than most people give them credit for, but I do think Winnipeg is truly the better team. And I think St. Louis is going to give them all they can handle. I think Colorado in 6, just because I think they're, number 1, the better team, and number 2, the injuries to Robertson and Heiskanen. But I do think Ottinger can keep them in that series. I got Vegas in 5. I truly think Vegas is the best team in the Western Conference. And I think the way Minnesota has been playing down the stretch, I know they've been hurt, but even when they got them back, I'm still not a huge fan of Minnesota in general. And LA in 7, I think without Matthias Ekholm, with Stuart Skinner playing the way he's been playing, the uncertainty in net, and a much better LA team, I think it's the right mix for LA to win this one finally. And then we're going to go to the
Eastern
East.
Conference.
I got Toronto in 6. I'm going to hold the number. Sorry about that. Toronto, Florida, Washington, Carolina.
Holy shit, copy me anymore?
You guys all ate the same?
I got Toronto in 6. I was questioning maybe Toronto in 5, although I do think Ottawa is going to be pumped up in this series, Battle of Ontario. But I think it could be over in 5. But I'm going to go with Toronto in 6. Florida, we mentioned it on the episode with Rod Peterson. I got Florida in 6. I do think that fully healthy and playing our best, which I think we have another year to us, that we are the best team in the Eastern Conference. I got Washington in 6. I do think Montreal can steal one on the road, and then maybe with an overtime or a pumped-up home game, they could give Washington trouble earlier in that series, especially maybe with some injuries. Washington's been nursing with Thompson and Protas, but I do think at the end Washington wins. And Carolina in 5. I think the injury with Jack Hughes and the stylistic play of Carolina is just too much for New Jersey to handle.
And here is Nick's bracket.
Let's have one final look there. So you same as Cody, is that right?
Yep,
Yeah.
same exact bracket.
Well, Cody said he was going. Cody, my dark horse is Minnesota, then picks Vegas. So
Yeah,
I said, look,
I'm sticking to my dark horse.
I
So
said,
Cody might be the only one to do this, where he didn't stick with his dark horse.
I said if Minnesota plays Winnipeg, I like their chances.
And that wasn't
I
the
said it on-
question.
That's
I
not a
said on
strong dark
fucking
horse.
After Dark. Go back and look it up.
That
I
wasn't
said
the question.
Say that, Nick. That's not a strong.
That
bet.
wasn't the question, right? Though, right? Was it, Kirby?
You should have your dark horse regardless of what team you're going up against. But
that's just fucking stupid.
these are mean.
Let's go.
Okay, we're gonna have different look here, everyone. Also, I want to comment. We didn't do this last year with the Cats and Rats, but I did go 7-1. The only series I messed up on was Nashville and Vancouver. Thank you very much, Andrew Brunette. I gave you a chance.
I tried to fucking tell you that was wrong.
So that could have maybe won me my pool on the year that the Panthers won the Stanley Cup. But screw you, Andrew Brunette. Okay, let's start out west. Let's go quick here, and then I'll talk it over. Winnipeg Jets.
Okay.
Colorado Avalanche, Vegas Golden Knights, and Edmonton Oilers. With Winnipeg, I always go to the well with these guys, and they always cost me. This is going to be the last time if they don't do it. I'm going to go hard-fought series here. They win in 7 games, President's Trophy winners. You get to have home ice throughout the playoffs. So Winnipeg in 7. Colorado, it's interesting. Do I want to go shorter series with all the injuries with Dallas? But I've respected Dallas all year. I thought this series would go 7, but now with the injuries, I'll lean Colorado in 6. I don't have a lot to say on this one. I'm not going to watch much of this series. Vegas, Minnesota, I think like everyone else pretty much here, I'm going to go Vegas in 6. We'll give a little respect to Minnesota, how they played early in the year to maybe take 1 or 2 here. It could end in 5, but I'll go 6 there. And then Oilers in 6. I think this is a home series. So I think LA might take the first 2 games and get out of the gate fast, and everyone's going to be panicking. McDavid, Draisaitl come back home, take reign of the series, then maybe steal 1 in LA. That's all they need to do, and then win game 6 at home. So Oilers in 6. I'm not going to undersell them right now and be prisoner of the moment. I think they are a cup contending team, at least to get to the second, third round this year.
And they've been there before, so they've got the experience.
Coach has got the experience from last year, all that as well. So there's my
and I just want to preface this by saying this: Kirby hates LA's coach.
I don't like Hiller much. I like their team though. I like Deneau. I like Kopitar. I like what they have. I have Byfield being an X factor there as well. So yeah, that's a tough one to pick, but I'm not going with the crowd on that. But that was Nick's pick originally. LA as his dark horse. So good job by Nick there if it happens. Okay, quickly to the east. I'm sticking with my dark horse team. I'll explain it here in a second. Ottawa Senators. We're gonna go Florida Panthers, Washington Capitals, and of course Carolina.
Ain't no way in blue hell you picking New Jersey.
I'm gonna go Ottawa in 7. When Toronto has home ice, it doesn't mean anything. You know, they're gonna make their fans cry and bow out. I really like Toronto's season, but I don't like this matchup for them. If Ottawa plays to their potential, goaltending, Brady Tkachuk, Sanderson on the back end there, my guy Shane Pinto, this team can defeat the Toronto Maple Leafs and steal 1 or 2 games on Toronto Maple Leafs home ice. I think Toronto will rebound and win some games in Ottawa, but I think Ottawa will punch back late in the series and maybe win one on the road and then win one on home ice as well. Maybe that home ice game in game 6 could go to overtime or something like that. So I think Ottawa has a good shot here. Panthers, not the most confident I feel in any of these matchups. I think if it goes 7, the Panthers unfortunately are not going to pull this out. They have to win in 6. So I'm really leaning in this series if the Panthers can get it done in 5 or 6 games. Hopefully they can get it done in 6. We talked about that on the podcast. Make sure to check it out. Washington, I haven't been the biggest advocate of them down the stretch. They haven't been playing great hockey here. They're resting players and all that. Montreal, one of the hottest teams right now, as we mentioned. I think Montreal wins 2 games in this series in overtime, but that's all they're going to win. They might defend home ice, but I think they're going to be down in the series at points. So I'm going to go Washington in 6. And then I'm being ballsy here. I made this pick of my own pool. I do like the pick of Nick there, but I'll go even one further. I'm going to go Carolina in the sweep 4 games. I think this is where they established themselves early on here. They did it last year against the Islanders as well. So I think this is a good matchup there for where how New Jersey is depleted and New Jersey wants to play a little running gun at times. I think Carolina can lock it down. And I think sometimes, and even in our community here in our coast, they undersell what Carolina gets between the pipes with their goaltending. I think they get pretty steady goaltending in the play.
I think you're underselling what New Jersey has in the pipes as well. But that's
Yeah.
I like Markstrom, but I think he'll come out on the short end of the stick in some of those close scoring games, 1-0, 2-1 type games. I think Carolina will be fine in that. So mine looks a little different than everyone's. So I like it.
just two different picks. You have the two upset picks, I think.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was thinking St. Louis, but I couldn't quite go that far. Caesar.
All right, so my turn now. It's going to be a really good series in the beginning. I'm going to go with St. Louis as my upset. One of my upsets here. Colorado, too many injuries here for Dallas. Vegas over Minnesota, and I'm going to pick Edmonton winning that series versus LA. Even though I want LA to win, I think that Edmonton, with their playoff experience, they've been there before, they've done it, so they will definitely win that one. So for the series, I'm going to say St. Louis wins it in 7. It's going to be a tough matchup. I think St. Louis, Montgomery's got them playing really well down the stretch. I think that's really big going into the playoffs. Colorado, and I was going to say 6, but I'm going to go with Colorado in 5. Vegas, this is going to be my sweep. I think Vegas is going to sweep them and win it in 4. I just think they're too strong on the back end, and they got a chance of being in the cup. And I'm going to go with Edmonton Oilers in 7. It's going to be a very good series, but I think, getting their players back here towards the end is going to be an advantage to Edmonton, and they'll win Game 6 in LA and come back home and win it in Game 7.
That Vegas pick is
Caesar. LA has home ice.
Oh, so they'll win it.
LA has home ice, so I was going to say that's a spicy pick.
And the disrespect to the Minnesota Wild, they are not getting swept. I'm not picking them against Vegas. I'd pick them against Winnipeg, but I'm not they're not getting swept.
Okay.
I think there's more of a chance to Vegas sweeping.
I almost went with Minnesota getting swept.
Minnesota chokes every year. There's more of a chance for Vegas sweeping Minnesota.
And they haven't been playing well the last couple of
game
weeks.
In LA. LA's got great home ice.
But Minnesota's had injuries just like us. Probably worse than us.
No, they choke every
year. That's why I don't think they're going to. Well, yeah.
But they got those guys back, so we'll see.
We'll see. And the Eastern Conference, I'm going to go with Toronto, Florida. Although I want Ottawa to win. Sorry about that. My cursor.
We're losing it there.
There we go. All right. Capitals and my dark horse, which I'm not going to go back on. I'm going to pick New Jersey. Toronto is going to win it in 7.
7.
Florida.
You got faith with these guys. Getting it done.
It's going to be a really tough series. I think Ottawa is going to give them more of a fight than a lot of people think. It's going to go to 7, and they'll finally win a Game 7 at home. And I'm going to go with Florida. Like Kirby and all you guys say, I think they have to win it in 6. If they go to a Game 7 to Tampa, it's going to be I can't really see them winning. But you never know. They've done it before. They've done it in Boston. They've done it in years past. So you can't put that past them. But I think for them to advance, they would have to win it in 6. Washington, Montreal, 6 games. I'm going to give Montreal winning 2 games, 1 at home or 2 at home. And then have Washington, they'll win all of their home games. And then I will have New Jersey winning in 7. And I think Mark Strawman is going to come up big. Hopefully he comes up on top. And that is my pick for round 1 of the bracket.
Can't wait to revisit this one.
Interesting. Because some of these picks, I'm looking ahead to what we've done in our NHL bracket challenge and who we have in the cup and who we have winning the cup. We don't want to reveal that till tomorrow because that's the chance to kind of separate yourself from the pack here in our community, Cody.
Yep. Do we have to give our first round pick for Brad? If we make it to the conference finals and Brad Marchand plays 50% of the games, yes, we do. But if we're eliminated first round, it's only a second round pick.
Yep.
So there we are, gentlemen. Good luck. Anything else on the way out here? We just had the podcast drop, so make sure to check that out tonight or tomorrow when you hear this.
Tomorrow is the start of the best time of year. It's here. We get to sit here and either relax or, if you're like some other people, freak the fuck out.
Yeah, Nick, you got to wait all the way till Tuesday.
That's all right. It's all right. Trust me, it gives me plenty of time to get mentally prepared.
But you got to wait all the way to next week for Game 3. Oh, man.
Oh.
But
Yeah, we'll be way half the series will be over by that time.
before we go here, I just want to say, so yesterday, as everyone knows, that's my school right here, Florida State University. We had a tragic incident yesterday. I just want to say thank you to everybody who reached out to me, making sure I was okay and stuff like that. Kind of a tough thing, especially when the incident happened right where I worked. So, like, I work in the student union. So, if it happened a day earlier or a day later, I would have been right there in that same situation. Just want to say appreciate the community for just checking up on me, stuff like that. And Florida State, we're unconquered by fear. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, Caesar, Kirby, Nick, just all checking in on me and stuff like that. So,
and thank you for the community too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to everybody at FSU and the community there. When I saw that, the first person I thought of course, was you, and I definitely had to reach out to see, and I'm glad everything's okay. But to all the family members there that have lost somebody, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and it's so unfortunate that we still have to go through this, but we are thinking of you guys.
Yep, go Knowles, always.
Yep, very tough to segue out of that, and there's no really way to do that. But Caesar, we do have a video to end here tonight on the way out. So appreciate everyone liking, sharing, subscribing here. A lot of content upcoming here. I know there's going to be a little break here with the Battle of Florida, but there's a lot of content for everyone to digest as we've been pumping it out here every day. Also over on the Twitter X side, make sure to join us every post game as well when me, Nick, Cody go live over there. Caesar?
Yep. Let me just pull up this video. Thanks again, everyone. Hope everybody enjoys the playoffs. It's going to be a fun first round. I'm excited. I think everybody else is excited.
Let's get this going already. Enough of the waiting.
Get it started, baby.
Anyways, so
appreciate
long, everybody.
guys.
We really appreciate it. And till next time.
The Stanley Cup is a holy grail. You spend your whole life dreaming of maybe playing for the Stanley Cup and winning it.
Believers of the dream continue to strive for hockey's ultimate goal. The Stanley Cup is our inherent symbol of achievement, of triumph, and of fulfilling one's dream.
The Stanley Cup playoffs and to get to the Stanley Cup finals. It is a grind. It's a grind physically.
Take your ice, man. Take your ice.
It's a grind mentally.
I got him! I got him! Turn it! Be more aggressive. Skate it!
It's a grind emotionally too.
Dig in! We gotta dig in!
That's the only reason we're playing this game now. It's just to have a chance to win this cup.
To win the Stanley Cup, it means everything.
It means everything.
Stanley Cup thrills are few and far between for so many hundreds of hockey players who never even get to a playoff series.
It's moments. It's going to be a whole bunch of small little moments in the game that's going to lead to one big one in the end.
Champion de la Coupe Stanley!
you do not make it to the Stanley Cup Finals without understanding the concept of team.
Play fast, play free, baby. Let's go get it. Go, 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 go.
We did it. Legends.
82-game grind, ups, downs, injuries, adversity.
This is 2 straight months now of intense hockey.
It's the toughest trophy to win. It's the most beautiful trophy
Etched forever.
the Stanley Cup. Together forever out the next one.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats!